Last we were talking about various terms used in illumination. Okay, we are going to continue with the same. We are going to see furthermore the terms used in illumination, in which we are going to see luminous intensity about first. So let's understand the next term in the terms used for illumination engineering, luminous intensity. So what is luminous intensity? You're observing a source of light here in the schematic shown, okay, where it is radiating some luminous flux into the space. So luminous intensity in a given direction, it is defined as luminous flux emitted by the source per unit solid angle. We have already seen what is the definition of solid angle in the previous class. So how do you define solid angle? Solid angle is area by radius square. So here we have seen that the solid angle is defined as omega, that is area by area, that is the luminous flux is covering, by radius square, that is the length of the illuminated ray. Okay, so here we define luminous intensity applying the same solid angle, that is luminous flux emitted per unit solid angle. So it is denoted by symbol capital I. It is usually measured in candela. The units of luminous intensity is candela. If phi is the luminous flux crossing a spherical segment of solid angle omega, then luminous intensity I is given by phi by omega. This is lumen per steradian or candela. Candela is one of the units. Lumen per steradian is the same, another unit. You can measure in either of the two units, lumen per steradian or candela. So this is about luminous intensity. Next, the next term here is lumen. How do you define lumen? It is the unit of luminous flux. Lumen, it is the way we represent luminous flux. It is defined as luminous flux emitted by a source of 1 candle power per unit solid angle in all directions. So it is defined as luminous flux emitted by a source of 1 candle power per unit solid angle in all directions. Here you are observing the formula for the lumen given as candle power of the source multiplied by solid angle Cp into omega. Usually the total flux emitted by source of 1 candle power is 4 pi lumens. Okay, this is a standard value. 1 candle power source, it is 4 pi lumens. The next definition we are going to understand is candle power. Candle power of a source, it is defined as total luminous flux lines emitted by that source in a unit solid angle. It is again also defined in terms of solid angle only. So candle power, it is given as the ratio of lumen per solid angle. Okay, given as lumen per steradian or candela. Unit is lumen per steradian, or it may be also given as in candelas. Next definition we are going to talk is illumination. Illumination, it is defined as luminous flux received by the source per unit area. It is usually denoted by capital E. It is measured in lux or lumen per meter or lumen per meter square. Okay, whatever, however you are measuring. Usually express it in lux. Illumination, it is defined as luminous flux received by the source per unit area. It is defined by capital E. So illumination capital E is equal to luminous flux by area. Luminous flux, you already know, it is represented by phi, area capital A. So luminous flux is given as candle power into omega solid angle divided by A lux. So candle power multiplied by solid angle divided by area covered by the luminous flux, okay, in lux is given as illumination. Next, definition of lux. Lux is also otherwise called meter candle. It is defined as the illumination of the inside of a sphere of radius 1 meter and a source of 1 candle power when it is fitted at the center of a sphere. Consider a globular structure, a sphere. If you are fitting a source of light, okay, this source of light has 1 candle power, so illumination of the inside of that particular sphere of radius 1 meter, okay, it is defined as lux, okay, or it is also defined as meter candle. Next, foot candle. Similar to meter candle, this also is defined, but the radius here is in terms of 1 foot rather than 1 meter. It is the unit of illumination. It is defined as illumination of the inside of a sphere of radius 1 foot and a source of 1 candle power when it is fitted at the center of it. So we know that 1 lux is equal to 1 foot candle, that is equal to 1 lumen per feet square or foot square. So 1 foot candle is given as 1 lumen by 1 by 3.28 meter square. 3.28 square meter square. What is that 1 by 3.28 pi? Pi is the amount of, angle covered by that particular candle source. Okay, I've got a 360 degrees plane. At least half of it is covered. It is going in one direction. Okay, it is not covering the other direction. So pi 22 by 7, 3.8 whole square meter square. So you have got a 10.76 lux or meter candle. So 1 foot candle is 10.76 lux. Next definition is brightness. So brightness of any surface, it is defined as luminous intensity per unit surface area of the projected surface in the given direction. So brightness of any surface is defined as luminous intensity per unit surface area of the projected surface in the given direction. It is usually denoted by symbol L, capital L. If the luminous intensity of the source, if it is I, capital I candela on an area A, then the projected area is A cos theta. How do you define the projected area? It is defined as A, capital A cos theta. Then the brightness, how we are going to define, L is equal to I, that is intensity of source, by projected area A cos theta. It is defined in terms of candela per meter square or candela per centimeter square or candela per feet square. However, you are defining the area in terms of centimeters or meters of feet. ఏ యూనిట్ బేస్ చేసుకుని మీరు డిఫైన్ చేస్తే ఆ యూనిట్లో మీరు బ్రైట్నెస్, యూనిట్ ఆఫ్ బ్రైట్నెస్ని డిఫైన్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. క్యాండెలా పర్ మీటర్ స్క్వేర్ ఆర్ క్యాండెలా పర్ సెంటీమీటర్ స్క్వేర్, candela per feet square. So brightness L, capital L is, it is given as I divided by A cos theta. So let us understand the relation between I, E and L. Okay, what is I? Is your intensity of the source. What is E? Illumination. And what is L? Luminous flux. So we are going to have a relation between these three. So let us consider a uniform diffuse sphere with radius r meters at the center of a source of 1 candle power and a luminous intensity of I candela. Consider a globular structure, a sphere. So we consider uniform diffuse sphere. The radius of this sphere is r meters. So the source is at the center of 1 candle power with 1 candle power. So we define brightness as equal to luminous intensity by area. Area of the sphere is given as pi r square. So that is given as I by A, that is I divided by pi r square here, equation 1. And illumination E, it is given as luminous flux divided by area. Luminous flux we already know, it is given as candle power multiplied by solid angle. So Cp into W divided by area. Okay, here it is a sphere. So what we are going to do, we are going to get 1 divided by 4 pi r square into 4 pi solid. So 4 pi goes away, you are having I divided by r square. So what happens to your E now? I divided by r square. That is also given as, we can write it as I divided by pi r square into pi. So what is I divided by pi r square? We have already defined in equation 1, that is your brightness L. So that can be given as E is equal to pi times L. So E is equal to pi times L, that is equal to I divided by r square. So next definition is mean horizontal candle power. This is defined as MHCP. So MHCP is defined as mean of the candle power of the source in all directions in a horizontal plane. When you are considering a surface, okay, you are intersecting the surface with a straight line, you are got a upper hemisphere, lower hemisphere. Okay, similar to your earth you are having a equatorial plane or an equator, you call it. So above equator and below equator we have got two surfaces. So here mean horizontal candle power, you can and the next coming definitions you are supposed to imagine it this way: above a certain hemisphere and below a certain hemisphere, or covering a whole hemisphere. So mean horizontal candle power, it is defined as mean of the candle power of the source in all directions in horizontal plane. So mean spherical candle power is mean of the candle power of source in all directions in all planes, that is above and that is in all planes above. Okay, anywhere, either up you are considering all the planes or down you are considering all the planes. So mean spherical candle power means, mean hemispherical candle power, it is defined as mean of the candle power of source in all directions above or below the horizontal plane. Okay, it is not specific but it is complete. See, when you are considering the solar system, sun and earth, so you only have illumination on one side at a time for about 12 hours. Another time, I mean another half, okay, for about 12 hours again it is in dark, so it's not illuminated. So here one side below equator and above equator, you are considering it like above, below, all planes, above, all planes, below. Okay, similarly the other side, above or below. Okay, only above. So three different definitions: mean hemispherical candle power, mean spherical candle power, mean horizontal candle power. Next, reduction factor. So reduction factor of the source of light, it is defined as the ratio of mean spherical candle power to its mean horizontal candle power. Ratio of mean spherical candle power to mean horizontal candle power, it is known as reduction factor. So the next definition is lamp efficiency. It is defined as the ratio of total luminous flux emitted from the source to its electrical power input in watts. This usually is expressed in terms of ratio of luminous flux to power input. So lamp efficiency is total luminous flux and total power input. It's nothing but output to input definition. You are considering a source, you are having some power input radiated into the surface, that is in the terms of some luminous flux. So that is the output, source input. So output to input. So that is how you are defining lamp efficiency. The unit, or it is usually expressed in lumens per watt. Next definition is specific consumption. It is defined as the ratio of electrical power input to its average candle power. So ratio of electrical power input to average candle power, it is defined as specific consumption. It is defined as specific consumption. Next definition is space to height ratio. It is defined as the ratio of horizontal distance between adjacent lamps to the height of their mountings. If you are considering two lamps placed on two mounted heights, the ratio of horizontal distance between the two adjacent lamps mounted on two heights to their mountings, the average height, it is defined as space to height ratio. So you are having the formula here: horizontal distance between two adjacent lamps, okay, divided by mounting height of the lamps above the work plane. For example, you are having two lamps spaced between them is about 5 meters, and again you are having the height of the lamps is about 4 meters. So the space height ratio will be 5 by 4. 5 divided by 4, that is 5 is to 4. That's the space to height ratio. So the next definition is coefficient of utilization. It is also called utilization factor. So it is defined as the ratio of total number of lumens reaching the work plane to the total number of lumens emitted from the source. So some of the lumens or luminous flux that is emitted out of a source, it is not reaching the surface. Instead, it is just wasted, okay, in terms of some reflections and refractions. Some of the illumination, it is absorbed, it is reflected by the media present in that particular space, air, gas, etc. So utilization factor is the total lumens reaching the working plane. For example, you are switching on a light, you want your light to fall on your table, working table, for example. So the total lumens reaching the working table to the total luminance emitted by the source, your light, your tube light, it is defined as utilization factor. So next definition is maintenance factor. So maintenance, see, whenever your source of light is maintained properly, okay, then only it is going to show 100% illumination for your working surface. So it should be free of dust, dirt, smoke, or anything else, any alien particles to give perfect illumination. So how do you define this maintenance factor? It is defined as the ratio of illumination under normal working conditions to the illumination when everything is clean. Under normal working conditions, you will definitely have some dust, dirt, accumulated smoke, etc. accumulated on the surface of the illuminating source or the illuminating body. For example, in industries, okay, it is continuously releasing dust, dirt, smoke, etc. Okay, so that dust, that etc. is deposited on the source of light. So what is happening? Your illumination gets down. So usually this is always less than 1. Okay, you will never have a maintenance factor more than 1. It will usually be around, you know, 0.8. So usually 20% of the luminous flux will be wasted, or it will not reach the surface because of this hindrance. So it is always less than 1 and it will be around 0.8. This is due to the accumulation of dust, dirt, smoke on the lamps that emit less light than they should emit when they are clean. Frequent cleaning of lamp will improve maintenance factor. So maintenance factor is given by the formula illumination under normal working condition divided by illumination under everything is clean. Next definition is depreciation factor. So depreciation factor, it is defined as the ratio of illumination to the ultimate maintained illumination on the working plane. Its value is always more than 1. Usually maintenance factor and depreciation factor are opposite to one another. Okay, they are reciprocal of each. So depreciation factor is equal to 1 divided by maintenance factor always. Next definition is waste light factor. When a surface is illuminated by several numbers of sources of light, there is certain amount of wastage due to overlapping of light waves. Okay, when you are placing, light sources very close to each other, okay, light source or luminous flux emitting from light source 1, okay, overlaps with luminous flux emitting from light source 2. Okay, so this is called waste light. Okay, that is light not going used or simply wasted. So the wastage of light is taken into account depending upon the type of area to be illuminated. So this waste light factor is an important phenomenon. Okay, for usually illumination in aesthetics, illumination based upon aesthetics or illumination based upon some monuments, national monuments, statues of importance, okay, illumination of high-rise buildings, illumination of suspension bridges, illumination of railroads, rail tracks, illumination of normal crossover bridges, footover bridges, etc. So its value for rectangular surfaces or rectangular area is 1.2, and for all the irregular objects like statues, monuments, architectural, you know, structures, you will be having it as 1.5. So waste light factor should be as minimum as possible. Okay, so that the elevation of the monument, the aesthetics of the monument or the architecture is not decreased, but at the same time the luminous flux, it is not wasted. The next definition is absorption factor. So now whenever normally usually whenever you are observing, you know, atmosphere consisting of smoke, fumes, okay, etc., dust, dirt, there is possibility of absorption of light by this particular alien matter. So the total lumens available after absorption to the total luminance emitted by the lamp, it is known as absorption factor. So మనకి surface కి ఎంతైతే reach అవుతుందో after the absorption by the alien particles, okay, in the plane, in the surface or between surface and the source, okay, you call it as absorption factor. So absorption factor is given by a small formula: total lumens available after absorption divided by total lumens given out by the lamp. So absorption factor, it is defined as total lumens available after absorption by total lumens given out by the lamp. Next definition is reflection factor. This reflection factor is also defined as coefficient of reflection. Now whenever light rays they fall onto a surface, some of these light rays get absorbed. Okay, some of the light and most of the light rays they get reflected back. Okay, here you are observing a reflected ray. Okay, because of the absorption coefficient of the surface, some of the rays, incident rays will be absorbed, few, okay, 0.1 to 2% of the rays will be absorbed, and remaining 98, 96 or 98, 97% the rays will be reflected back. So a portion of light that is absorbed is subtracted from the incident rays to get your reflected ray. So the ratio of luminous flux leaving the surface, okay, to the luminous after hitting the surface to the luminous flux incident on it, it is known as reflection factor. Okay, so it is always less than 1 if your incident ray is 1. Okay, if your reflected ray is 0.98, so the ratio is always coming less than 1. Okay, so this is again depending the value, it again depends upon the type of surface you are observing. Okay, it is highly absorbing surface, it is going beyond, okay, far beyond 1, or it is a normal reflecting plane like a mirror, okay, it will be close to 1 but never equal to 1. Okay, so this is how you are defining the reflection factor. It is also called coefficient of reflection. So whenever light rays impinge on a surface, it is reflected from the surface at an angle of incidence. Okay, here you are observing a normal. A theta is the angle of incidence. A portion of this incident light is absorbed. So we get the definition of reflection factor as ratio of luminous flux leaving the surface to the luminous flux incident on the surface. So this is known as reflection factor, also called coefficient of reflection. Next definition is beam factor. It is defined as the ratio of lumens in the beam of a projector to the lumens given out by the lamps. So the ratio of lumens in the beam of a projector. Okay, so we already have studied that lumens, okay, that is given out, it is not completely reaching the surface. So some of it is absorbed, some of it is reflected, some of it is scattered back. So this factor is taken into account for absorption of light by reflector and front glass of the projector lamp. Usually its value varies between 0.3 to 0.6. Usually you observe a beam factor, okay, predominant in floodlights, okay, projector lamps, okay. Then again, these kind of floodlights you observe in big play stadiums, cricket grounds, football grounds, rugby stadiums, okay, dockyards, shipyards, where you use flood lighting, projector lighting, etc. So this is a beam factor defined, very important, okay, which is varying between 0.3 to